Welcome back to MLC Talk, powered by Willow Sports. Aaman Patel, joined by Zee Zaidi and Dade Hayes. Guys, what an unbelievable start we had. We just heard Finn Allen talk about it. 151 off just 50 deliveries. He was special tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen anything like it because nothing like it's ever happened. He broke records tonight. At this wonderful venue, he broke records, the fastest 150 in history.
Yeah, the history we were expecting was the historic arrival of MLC in the Bay Area, playing in the Oakland Coliseum behind us. But we didn't know what we had in store for us. It was such a treat to see Finn and the Unicorns put up that total.
There was all that talk about the wickets coming in to today. And we'll get into all that in a bit. But first, I just want to look behind me for a second. Guys, the Oakland Coliseum is behind us. And this is such a historic place. Think about the whole plot of Moneyball centered around this spot. 20 wins on the trot for the Athletics in 2002. So many famous names to come out of this. Zee, I'll start with you. What was this moment like for you being here on opening day?
It was so special. Because for those of us who've been cricket fans in the U.S. for many, many years, the thought of professional cricket at this level being played in one of the most iconic stadiums of any sport in the U.S. Was a dream. And so, one, that was incredible. Two, to see the crowds, right? This was a Thursday night, right? And the crowd showed up in solid numbers, right? The average Oakland A's attendance is about 10,000, and we had somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000, and they were loud.
Yeah, to me that was the big thing. It was yes, there. We could have gotten more fans maybe, but the fans we had, they were loud. They were plugged into the game. They knew the significance of the things that were happening. And as I came into the venue, I got in here a little bit later than you guys. I got in here as the fans did. I saw fans from all different kinds. Fans who were new, fans who have been from the diasporas that were used to accepting cricket. To see everybody reacting at the right times for their home team, there was clearly a home feeling today.
That was awesome. Did you guys see the crowd catch out here to start things off? That was impressive, the celebration there. I love seeing the sea of orange really around, and it helped that Finn Allen had that innings in it to just kind of electrify everyone early. So that'll get us to the pitch. Right, that pitch that we always talk about. We heard so much about it. 107 average score here in these surfaces
In the World Cup.
In the World Cup. But there was a whole year later. I talked to Dave Agnew. He said those pitches were 5 months old. They were babies at that point. Now they're ready to go, and we saw that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, during the World Cup, which we all saw in New York, it was actually embarrassing for the ICC to the point that they actually put out a statement saying, we know there's a problem with these pitches, and the batters were batting scared. And they were saying, like, we're not sure what to expect, and there was even talk about them being unsafe. So who knew what they were going to be like? But this was like a rebirth of a pitch that I've never seen before. It's hard to believe they're the same surfaces.
You would have never guessed this. And we had Church Street last season. We didn't have it this season. I'm a little bit sad about that, of course. But Church Street offers some different challenges. This pitch, we thought maybe this pitch would offer some challenges. Church Street, of course, didn't have the quality lights of a facility like this. These are incredible lights. But one of the differences was the way the game played in the second innings with the batting, with the dew coming in. Here, where it's a little colder, you can see we're wearing jackets. It's colder here, so at Church Street, you'll always want to bat second because you want to bat with that dew coming in. Here, maybe not so much. That's interesting to see to me. We've talked before about how great cricket in the USA can be when we have all these different climates to have facilities. And we're starting to see what that looks like. And this is definitely a scoring ground, a high-scoring ground. And you probably want to bat first.
I'll tell you what, I prefer it to be warmer. It was cold down there. I had this jacket on the entire time, and they've changed our attire for tomorrow's match. We're going to have our polos and the short sleeves. Not looking too forward to that, just how cold it does get.
Look, I think the city of Oakland is nestled in the Bay Area, which is home to tens of thousands of cricket fans and cricket players. And, to just see a lot of them show up tonight because they weren't just fans, they were players. There were entire teams of local players who showed up in gear. And it really was a coming together of the community.
269 runs for the San Francisco Unicorns, leading to a largest margin of victory ever in Major League Cricket. 123 runs they win by to open things up in 2025. Zee, I want to start with you. Obviously, this game was dominated by Finn Allen. But yeah, talk to me about that first innings just all as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, when the match started, it was almost, the first over was a little slow, but from then on, they just took off.
Yeah.
Right? Finn was explosive. Finn was, unstoppable today. He was whacking sixes like it wasn't a thing. And in the press box, we started talking about, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? Is it the boundaries? Well, it wasn't the boundaries because he was clearing them by 10, 15 yards in some cases, right? He was hitting upper deck sixers. And it wasn't, the surface was probably a very good batter-friendly surface, but it wasn't like everyone hit a century.
Yeah.
Right? It was Finn Allen. And that was the story of the night tonight. In fact, just a quick story. Earlier today, I saw Anand Rajaraman, the owner of the Unicorns, or co-owner of the Unicorns, and he said to me, he was like, I just want someone to hit a century. I don't care who. I don't care if it's a unicorn or someone on the Freedom. Wow. I just want something good for the sport. A high score and a century, and we got that today.
Yeah, we really did it. Aaman, we were talking before the game, you and I, about the ground dimensions and how it might dictate the bowling tactics. And we thought maybe they were going to crowd the batter for space instead of going too full. We saw it early on and saw a lot of bowling at the hip, a lot of bowling to make the batters uncomfortable, backwards to try to force the batters to take on the side boundaries. Because especially batting from the south end of the grounds, the forward boundaries looked pretty darn close. And that's how Washington started off. They did start off trying to cram for space. Finn Allen, he kind of made them change their tactics with the way that he changed his approach. We saw the scoop shot for six, and it was his first six. And that was pretty cool because that was the first big six or home run in the grounds, and we got to see the difference between a cricket-style six and a home run in baseball. You're not going to score that way in baseball. So that was cool. You're bound to get comparisons between cricket and baseball in the USA. And to me, it was really cool that he just started off showing you, hey, this is a different sport. And then we started to see some more baseball-style sixes as he went through his innings, as the tactics changed. Obviously, you can't stay with one thing for but too long in T20 cricket. We thought we knew how they would start the innings with the bowling tactics. They did, and things change when you start whacking them around the way that Finn Allen did. I love that partnership that he had with the local Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who we all three of us love him. He's been fantastic for Team USA. Forced his way into that team with his play in minor league and major league last season, and I did it again this year. They had a fantastic partnership there where they scored seven boundaries out of a delivery span between him and Finn Allen, including 4 straight from Sanjay to take them from 70-something to 116 in just a couple of overs.
Yeah, it was brilliant, that first innings, and the Freedom learned like and lesson hard and fast. But they almost shared the lesson back to the Unicorns to start the way Rachin Ravindra and Mitch Owen were hitting. We sat there and thought, not only would this be chased, this could be chased in maybe 14 overs or so. See, that was a phenomenal start they got off to.
It really was. And I think Rachin was a big part of the story there. I mean, he finished just shy of 50, and he was striking at something close to 300, if not better than 300, right, for a while. And we thought it was quick, and the conversation shifted to, well, when one team puts up a high total, the other team probably will as well, and if it has a lot to do with conditions. And that's what we thought we were in for. But that changed pretty quickly.
Yeah, it certainly did. Washington's power play was fantastic. Over 80 runs in the 6 overs. You mentioned Rachin Ravindra. We know how important a good all-rounder is in this league. Hassan Khan last season, he was also very good today. But Rachin really took over. It was shocking to me when he got out and he only had about 42 runs on the board because he did it so quickly. At one point in that Washington innings, they had 8 straight balls that went for boundaries, and he had a good number of those. I think, yes, it looked like Washington. It looked like what we thought, which was, okay, Finn Allen went big, but this is an offense. This is a ground with a lot of runs in it. And then we saw the collapse, unfortunately.
What do we think happened? For me, actually, I was in the box when it kind of started to unravel. Yeah. And I was with Natalie Germanos, and she brought up a really interesting point that I thought was super profound about the lights in particular. As soon as the sun went away and the lights kicked on, wickets started to happen. We saw more grip in the surface, and we also saw there was definitely dampness around. Sanjay Gursamwati slipped around the outfield, and it felt that the ball started to grip. And I spoke to her about it. I said, well, do typically grip to the bat? She says, well, in the warmer conditions, yes. But when it's cooler in the air, it gets more difficult. There's more grip. And that was super interesting. So maybe as we continue to see the tournament kick on, we're going to see chasing teams struggle to bat when it gets darker. And it could be, hey, you win the toss, you bat first, you try to put on some big runs.
And I think, when you're also chasing a monster total, like 269 or 270, no matter how big your batters are, and no matter how well the pitch is playing for you, like you stumble a little bit, and then the weight of the challenge just becomes too much.
Basically. And Harsh Rauf was brilliant. Hassan Khan was brilliant. 3 wickets for each of them. And that was something that struggled for the Unicorns last season. They struggled to take wickets in consistent intervals. Those two did it tonight. My goodness, if you hear Finn Allen's batting, with those two bowling the way they did, San Francisco Unicorns and that home crowd, they've gotten a lot of share about this season. Well, now, guys, we've had an unbelievable night. Oakland Coliseum, a lot of runs, a lot of wickets, but we all have our couple favorites, couple turning points in the game. Nate, I'm going to start with you. What was one of your top moments of the day?
Well, to me, maybe not top moment, but something that's really telling about the quality of this San Francisco Unicorns side is they made a lot of mistakes, and they still won. They gave up 100 runs very quickly, made 2 drop catches. I remember thinking maybe Horace Roth might have dropped the match. You saw Liam Plunkett bowl very well. We didn't know what kind of form he was going to be in coming into this, but he bowled he was very smart. And if Liam Plunkett's on his game at this venue, his bowling style and the period of time that he bowls is going to be very valuable. With that cross-seam bowling seems very effective from a lot of bowlers today. So, to me, it's very telling that San Francisco was able to make that many mistakes. We saw him, he basically had 2 wickets, but he had the overstep, but the no ball. And I think that's a big sign for them in the future. So I'm going to say it's the fact that they messed up and still won like they did.
So you see, how about you have anything that kind of sticks out from the day?
Yeah, one of the most poignant moments for me was when Sanjay came out and then he faced Saurabh. Because we had 2 American stars, but more importantly, 2 hometown boys, right? Sanjay, lives in the Bay Area, goes to school in the Bay Area. His family's here, right? His friends came to see him for the first time. Saurabh has made his home in the Bay Area since moving to this country. And these are 2 Bay Area stalwarts who were facing each other in Oakland Coliseum in a professional match. That was really special, and I think the audience really felt that.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to Anika Polan, the USA Women's T20, the national captain, and she said when Saurabh and Sanjay got announced on the screen, the audience went to start. Those are the guys they were really looking forward to seeing, and that's unbelievable to think about when you have Finn Allen out there. You have Jake Frazier McGurk, you have all these international superstars, and they want to see their hometown guys have that kind of success. So that's definitely one that it's very close to home. For me, in terms of just the actual gameplay, I think the catch-up from Jake Frazier McGurk on the boundary, and then the run-out from Harsh Rauf to disrupt the opening pair. You get Rushmore Ravindra, and you get Mitch Owen. To me, those are the 2 game-changing moments.
Yep.
Harsh Rauf makes the big drop, comes back and takes that run-out. From there, the top 3 of the Washington Freedom all scored 30-plus. No one else scored double digits. No one got to 10 runs. And that speaks to the brilliance of Hassan Khan, of Conmai LaRue, of Liam Plunkett. But that, to me, was where the game has shifted to be all about the San Francisco Uniforms.
Yeah, and a big question mark for San Francisco has been their bowling. Like, we know that they can score. And today their bowling stepped up quite a bit. Very, very impressively. Hassan Khan looks like, he said, Matt, he looks like he might get the Bar King again. You had him picked already.
Z knows what he's talking about, and since you're such an oracle, let's go on to see what tomorrow is going to look like. It's El Clasico, isn't it, guys? It's in a game a lot of folks are looking to. MI New York taking on the Texas Super Kings. Two pretty new-look sides. When we're seeing what we just saw, it feels like Quinn DeCock, Fab Duplessis, and Devin Conway could have big days tomorrow.
I think they're in for big days tomorrow. If I'm going to make a prediction about the match, I live in New York, so I should be picking MI New York, but just putting my objective hat on, I think Texas is hard to beat.
Yeah.
They're a stacked team. They have a solid core, and I think there's more of the team holding over from last year. I think MI New York has made themselves over in a big way, and we don't know. It might take a couple of matches for them to sort of gel and find their rhythm. So I'm picking Texas tomorrow.
Yeah, Nate, no Rashad Khan from New York.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge loss. And here, a spinner feels like it's going to be real vital. How do you think that bodes for New York tomorrow?
Oh, he's a spinner or not, he's one of the best cricketers in the world. He's with bat and volley, he's brilliant in every way. And he has a lot of passion. He brings a lot of that to the league. That's a big miss for MI New York, who already have a lot of questions that they need to answer. Like you said, there's too much continuity with this Texas team not to take Texas, and they have a lot of batting up front, and you want to set the stage really well. I feel like San Francisco left 20 runs on the board and towards the end tonight, which is crazy to say when you score over 260 runs. But that goes to show how important a really hot start is. Washington just couldn't overcome the massive finale innings, and he did it right from the start. So I think Texas just has too many questions answered already. I got to pick Texas tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat with you guys. I'll throw another prediction on top. I think Mohamed Mohsin's getting a flag for tomorrow. I have Ryder coming after him, and I think, especially if they bowl second, he's going to force you to hit square. His googly is going to be mightily effective because there's going to be runs on the board. There's no way around it. Whether you bet first, you're going to have to get 200 plus, or if you're bet chasing, I don't think you're going to be chasing less than 200. So 200 is the benchmark here at the Oakland Coliseum. He thrives in those situations. I think Mohamed Mohsin's in for a big day with the ball in hand. I think the crowd also is going to be phenomenal tomorrow. I know we've got a sea of orange and it's the home venue, Sparkle Army, but this is El Clasico, right? Like we can almost expect another 5,000-6,000 people here tomorrow. Well, guys, today was historic for what happened during play, but before play was quite awesome. The first bowl, which I think is such a brilliant innovation of Major League Cricket, kind of brings the Americanism in there. It featured 3 unbelievable cricketers. Nace, that was pretty special to witness, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was kind of scampering to my seat.
Well, it's a great way to get there, right? You got Crowley Ambrose, you got Courtney Walsh, and then you got Adam Gilchrist facing the first delivery. That was special. They got interviewed for everyone around the audience to hear, and that was a special thing. They also got interviewed by our very own earlier in the day, Zee.
Yeah, so the San Francisco Unicorns earlier today had what they called the Cricket Impact Lunch, presented by Qualis. It was a gathering of top business executives throughout the San Francisco Bay Area who have an interest in cricket and moving the sport forward. But it was also attended by a massive group of cricket legends. For the cricket heads among us, it was heaven. In addition to the 3 that you mentioned, right, Sir Curtly, Courtney Walsh, and Adam Gilchrist, there was Shane Watson, of course, was there. But there was also Murali Karthik, and there was Anil Kumble. And I had the honor of being the MC and the moderator, and I got to interview all of them on stage. And they were incredible individuals, very nice, very open, very candid. And they care a lot, not just about the sport in America. And it's actually striking to see how so many of them have strong connections to the U.S. Multiple of them have kids who live in the U.S. and come here regularly, and they care about the sport and making the MLC and cricket a success in America.
That's incredible. Do you have like a particular moment that was kind of your favorite from the day?
I think one of the things that I loved was when, I was on stage with Anil and I was talking about, you started off as a fast bowler and you became a spinner, right? And how did that help you develop, right? Having that background. Because he was known as one of the fastest spinners ever. And then when Courtney was on stage, Courtney Walsh, he called out to Anil from stage. He was like, Anil, I want you to know, I also started off as a spinner. And I became a fast bowler. So we learned a lot about these legends that we didn't know.
There's a universe out there where Anil Kumble is one case.
Yeah.
And Kurt.
Courtney Walsh is in If It Was Spinner.
How about that? What a world that would have been. But there's plenty of flair out here tonight as well, especially local flair.
Yeah.
Our buddy Joe Hickey was doing the PA yet again, and he got to do it in kind of his home stand. That was pretty cool.
It was great. And Joe has experience with this, not just in cricket, but in other sports and football and baseball. And as a ground announcer, I can't think of anybody who's better. He was the ground announcer in New York during the World Cup last year. A lot of people came to me and said, this ground announcer that they have, because I was the ground announcer in Florida, and they were like, were you the guy in New York? And I was like, no, I'm the guy in Florida. And they're like, oh, the guy in New York was amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
The guy in Florida.
Hey, in Florida was telling people to stay underneath the covers because it was raining. But yeah, Joe was amazing. I kept telling you, Zee, because we were sitting in the press area together. I kept saying, man, it's great to hear Joe Hickey's voice. And he did a fantastic job. But yeah, just the amount of people who are here today that are a part of the cricket scene in the USA is very special.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, even the Major League team, there's the staff being here and around. It's a very cool thing. And then we take to domestic life, right? This is a moment for them to stand out. See, you brought this up. They haven't played a lot of matches for some international.
Yeah, you look at the start of the MLC, Aaman, and the players who are coming out of the IPL or the PSL, right? Case in point, Finn Allen. Yeah. What a great campaign for the Gladiators, right? In the PSL. They're in form, right? And I think our domestics, some of them have been playing internationally, some of them in touring, some of them played down in Florida recently.
Right.
But even they are a little rusty, right? It's been a minute. And so I think over the course of this tournament, you're going to see them get into form more, and it's going to be more intense. But I think right out of the gate, there's an advantage to some of the internationals.
Yeah, we saw that with the partnership at the end of the San Francisco Unicorns innings with Anderson and Hassan Khan.
Yeah,
where they both kind of struggled to find their way. But eventually Hassan Khan came around. The two of them are phenomenal. They're some of our best domestic players, and they were struggling a little bit. It's exactly for the reason you said.
Yeah, so quickly, guys, whilst we are thinking about the rest of the tournament and specifically tonight, what are your kind of final takeaways, right? Well, what are the things that stood with you, and that's what kind of take the rest of the layer?
You want to start, Nate?
Well, I mean, I can't get over the clash of baseball and cricket here and how significant this ground is for baseball history, for football history. John Madden coached here. The Raiders, it's a tradition of excellence, so they say, and I think tonight started a new tradition of excellence. How was you, Zee?
I think up till this point, the only fan base in the U.S. that has been able to support their local team in MLC has been the Dallas fan base, right? They're the TSK, and they've been kind of overwhelmed with a lot of cricket. Tonight, we saw the second fan base rooting for their home team in the Unicorns and Sparkle Army. And it really hit me how big a deal that is. And I'm looking forward, to the future when all of our MLC teams and the ones that aren't even playing yet and are going to join as the expansion team in the future have their home stadiums and have their home fan bases come out, because it makes such a big difference.
Can't wait for all that and the rest of the season. Guys, just episode 2. Make sure you tune in for the rest.